Hello, this is going to be my Jade Cocoon review video now that I've completed my playthrough. Warning for spoilers, since this is a review I will be discussing the game in detail, so to avoid spoilers, please watch my playthrough first and I'll leave a link in the description box below. So the story. Jade Cocoon is set in a world where man and beast both coexist, but they don't coexist in harmony. The minions are sealed within dense forests, and only the divine barrier protects the villagers from themselves, and villages are the only safe retreat for people who live in these lands. One fateful day, the Onibubu escaped from the forest and attacked the village, and they cursed the people of Syrus and plunged most of them into a deep slumber. Levant, our hero, must become a cocoon master and follow his father, and he ventures forth into the forests to search for a herb which is rumoured to be a cure for the sleep spell. As a cocoon master, Levant must capture and defeat minions as he searches for the herb, and his Nagi wife, Mahbu, can purify minions along with merging them together to form new, more powerful combinations. The cocoons can also be spun into silk and sold for currency. Upon finding the herb, Levant brings it back to the village, but the chieftain has declared that Garai, an elderly Nagi woman, should be sacrificed to the forest in order to appease it and stop further attacks. Garai uses her magic and binds the souls of the villagers to Levant and turns them all to stone. Levant now has to defeat dark spirits in order to fulfill his prophecy and free all of the villagers. Gameplay. Most of the gameplay occurs within one of 4 forests, each requiring a key to enter. These keys are obtained as the plot progresses and serve as a mechanic to prevent players from entering areas that are too strong for them. Within the forest, minions spawn on pathways and act as battles to overcome. It is possible to dodge some of the minions, but most of them are placed to bottlenecks, and it forces the encounters anyway. Upon a battle starting, a player is faced with up to 6 options to either attack, defend, summon, capture, use items, or retreat. So attacking is physical damage for the weapon that is equipped to Levant. It is rare that Levant attacks, because if he kills the minions he gains no experience, so it really only happens in the first few encounters, or if you're really in trouble. Defending is just reducing incoming damage on the next attack. Summon is the main one of the 2 main aspects of the game, and this is where he can call out a minion that he's captured and he can fight in his place. Capturing is as Levant works his way through the forests, he becomes stronger and he attempts to seal a minion inside a cocoon. He can either use that to fight for him, he can merge it with other minions, or as I said, you can spin him into a cocoon and be sold. Items is just an option for using healing items, debuffing items, or purifying items as well, such as removing poison. And retreat is attempting to run from battle without partaking in it. It's not a guaranteed retreat, and if you do fail, then you leave yourself open for attacking for one turn by the enemy. And as I said, the main mechanic of the game is capturing and developing minions into powerful battle creatures. First, you weaken a minion before capturing it, and you can capture up to 12 minions before you have to return to Mahbu and perform some magic. If you try and catch a minion and it fails and it breaks, you then don't have access to that slot until you again return to the village. As Levant captures more minions, his capture level increases, his rank as a cocoon master increases, and the ability to capture higher level minions improves. A nice little touch as well is the flute, or the tune he plays on his flute, changes as he goes up in skill level as well, which is a nice little detail. So the minions. Minions fall under one of 4 elemental families. They're either fire, air, earth, or water, and each have their own strengths and weaknesses against the other ones. So for example, if a fire minion is spawned, it will do more damage against an air minion, it will do less damage to a water minion, and it will do neutral damage to an earth minion. And equally, it will be weak to water, strong versus air, and neutral to earth. When minions are summoned, they have 4 options in battle. Physical attack, as we've already mentioned. Defend, which reduces damage, but they also manage to restore a small amount of mana through defending. Special attack and magic attack. Special attacks are a certain part of the body, such as a horn, claw, or tail, where an elemental affinity is associated with it. And what that allows you to do is do, say, a fire-based horn attack to an air minion to overcome it. And by capturing minions and then through merging minions, which we'll come on to in a minute, you can also add these, you can combine these attacks onto one minion, one creature. You can also have modifiers to them, so instead of having horn plus fire, you could have horn plus accuracy, or horn plus sleep, or horn plus power. So there's different combinations you can start to build up to make your minion more powerful. Magic is the other option, which can be a single target magic, multiple target, or a debuff type. A debuff such as poison, stone, or sleep. And again, by merging creatures together, you can start to build up quite a complex minion. Minions can obviously switch out in battle to other minions or back to Levant. So if you would take a minion out, battle it to weaken the opponent, get it into the red, and then summon Levant back out to capture it. That would be the usual flow of battle. Merging minions. Once a player has captured minions within a forest and purified them, the option to merge them is available. The player can choose to combine minions as they see fit, but usually it is to combine attacks onto one minion. For example, if a water minion had a claw attack and was merged with another water minion with a water magic attack, the result would be a minion with both. The level of the minion along with its stats would be combined, and overall a stronger minion would be available. Players also have the ability to merge minions of different elements to cover off any weaknesses. The minions will typically retain either the physical form or the skin of the minion, and by placing the minion either in first place or second place when you're choosing that option helps to dictate what actually happens and what form it takes on. You can get some very interesting combinations. Also, it's worth noting that the player only has access to have 3 minions on him at any one time, so you're always going to have some weakness or one element that you're going to be exposed to potentially, so combining 2 into 1 can help you overcome this. There is also, player can capture lots and store them for later use, and you can store them with Mahbu as well, for example if you didn't need them until the next forest. Spinning cocoons, so any spare minions that you have captured that are not needed, you can spin these into cocoons and turn them into silk, and these are sold for currency. The higher the level of the creature that you spin just means a higher grade of silk and therefore more currency to you. In shops there are weapons, armor and supplies available in the village, and that's just to help you progress through your journey. So my summary overall, I really enjoy playing this game. And the first time I played it, I really got into the minion mechanics for capturing and merging these sort of weird and wonderful combinations. It's also quite a nice way of slowly increasing your team, rather than simply just switching out a stronger minion with one you've already had for a while and put some time and investment in. So it helps you sort of not have to make those difficult choices of which one you want. You can essentially have both just by merging them into one. I also enjoy the story aspect of the game. A lot of time and effort has gone into the story and the lore, and you will get some quite lengthy dialogue scenes where people are discussing the story in a lot more detail than I can cover off here. And it's not just go into forest, kill boss, loot item, repeat. In this playthrough I opted for a slightly different approach. I've tried to simply level up some of the early minions you get in the first forest and use them throughout the playthrough by just making them stronger by killing everything, rather than merging lots of different abilities onto it. And there is a certain degree of success here. The downside is to this that there's a lot more minions are simply just killed to maximize the experience you get on your team, and you have to be a little bit careful about if there is something you want to capture later on. You've got to be mindful of sort of raising your capture level as you go along, so not to be left behind. And equally, if we've done it the other way, simply by just merging lots and lots of minions together, you get diminishing returns on how much of a level increase you get when they're merged together. You can do both. However, you would have to go back into the forest or previous forest to sort of grind out some of these levels. I've tried to avoid grinding. Don't find it very fun. I also find that some of the earlier monsters and the models and their skins look a lot more pleasing than some of the latter ones found in the later forests, and you can get some really quite weird and funky combinations, and some of them just don't look very good at all. So I like to try and keep it a little bit vanilla and make it look pleasing on the eye. I also found out recently when I was putting the review together that there are some hidden spawns in the game and some rare combinations that you can create by mixing minions found at different locations. Those knowledge tablets that I didn't read as I picked up, they give you clues about what you need to combine with which and when and in the order, and you get these quite rare minions. I'm also not really sure why the game puts a lot of effort into like armor drops and weapon drops and accessory drops, apart from maybe the first half of the forest and maybe the odd lucky hit that an enemy will get on you. Levant really doesn't spend a lot of time in combat and in the firing line, so the upgrades don't really seem that worth it, which kind of for me defeats the point of that. There is a part of the game after the game called the Eternal Corridor, which is kind of just endless forest after forest after forest, where you can essentially just grind out the game and get higher and higher in levels. It doesn't end as far as I'm aware, so it might pay more value there, but I don't see a lot of benefit to it. Overall, I think the game is a great take on the sort of pet management system, and it was certainly nothing that I'd seen before back when this game was first launched, and it allows the player to have so much customization and a lot of replayability depending on what type of game you want to play. The battle system isn't too taxing, some of the bosses aren't overly difficult, and the game essentially boils down to getting the right elemental trait to face off against your opponent. That's the real major challenge of the game, and so a little bit of knowledge about what's going on ahead of you can prepare very easily for that. So all in all, I hope you enjoyed the playthrough, and hope if you've captured your interest, you'll go out and give the game a try for yourself, and let me know how you found it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.